Ji ki fateh. When Hardeep Kaur Auntie Ji asked me a few months ago to come speak at this year's Sikh Youth Symposium, a lot of things went through my head. The first thing was what I would say. What did I need to wear? And I was really surprised by the fact that I wasn't still in Group 1. But after trying to find the answers to these questions, I came across a grand total of 2 facts. 2 simple facts. The first of which was that I had absolutely no clue what I needed to talk about today. The second of which was the fact that I was not in Group 1 anymore. Regardless, in an attempt to find some inspiration, I decided to go to the Gurdwara. I decided that I would head upstairs to an empty Diwan hall and I would do an ardas to Guru Maharaj. I asked Guru Sahib, please help me find out what to talk about in this speech. And then as expected after that, I left the Diwan hall. Now, for context, there was nothing happening in this Diwan hall. There was no kirtan, no sangat, no katha, just an empty Diwan hall. But as I was leaving, I saw a taxi pull up outside the door. Now from this taxi came one of the oldest uncles I have ever seen in my whole life. I thought he was at least 90 years old, but for some weird reason, he was alone. He exited the taxi, and as he entered the Gurdwara, all of our sevadars ran over to go help him, as he had no walker, no cane. But he refused help from everybody. He just kept on walking. He went into the office room of our Gurdwara, pulled out an office chair, and then he bent over and started rolling the office chair towards the Diwan hall. Slowly but surely, he made his way to the Diwan hall. He got down on his knees and he did a matha tek. Now I was astounded. I didn't think he would be able to walk, much less be able to get on the ground and do a matha tek. And in my surprise, I decided that when he sat down, I would go and sit down beside him. I waited for a bit, but after a while I got impatient and I said, Uncle Ji, I have to ask you a question. You worked so hard to get here. You did your matha tek. Why are you just sitting here when there's nothing happening? There's no katha, there's no kirtan. Why are you here? And Uncle Ji laughed at me and he said, Singh Ji, you're right. There is no kirtan and no katha. There is no seva and no sangat for me here. There is no program happening for me today. But I didn't come here for that. And so I asked him, well, Uncle Ji, please enlighten me. Tell me why you are here today in this Diwan hall. And he said to me, Singh Ji, the reason that I came here today was to meet my best friend. He asked me, he said, couldn't you hear it? We've been talking this whole time. I don't need anything more than that. He asked me then, he said, Sehaj Singh, when you're in a room with your best friend, your real best friend, your closest best friend, you don't worry about what activities you have going on. You're just happy to be able to see them and talk to them. And by this point, I was shocked. I don't want to use the word shocked because we use it so often, so I chose to use the word pierced. The words from Uncle Ji pierced my heart. They pierced my heart so deeply that from that day to today, I haven't been able to forget his words. And that, Sadh Sangat Ji, is why we do these speeches. Now you're probably wondering, like Sehaj saying, that's a great story, but what does that have to do with the speech? Allow me to explain. I want everyone in this room to just pause for a second and think of the most Gursikh person they know. The person who they feel truly embodies Sikhi from the core. I'm serious, I want you guys to all come up with a person. What does it feel like to talk to them? Each word they say, it feels like it pierces your heart, the deepest depths of your heart. It feels like their love for Guru Maharaj ends up rubbing off on you. And when you talk to them, you feel more connected to Guru Sahib as well. And this dialogue, this method through which the Sadh Sangat communicates is the method that you have all been using throughout your speeches. This combination of taking Gurbani, Guru history, and Sikh history in order to respond to questions is the same way that this Sangat converses. Now I know for every Sikh kid in this room and all the adults as well, there have been times when you were questioned. We cannot deny the fact that it is hard to live in a place like America or Canada. We always hear about racism. but never the feelings of alienation that come with living in a place like this. We are in a country that isn't our own. We're amongst people that aren't our own. We're on land that isn't our own. And because of this, you will inevitably be pressured and questioned and tricked into believing things. But this skill that you are developing of critical thinking and analysis that you utilize in these speeches will make it that you're able to go out throughout this journey of life without having to compromise on your morals. And so in the end, I want to say one thing. I want each and every person in this room to think about this question of why do you participate in these speeches? To me, the answer used to be because I like the candy my mom gave me when I finished my speech. But now, the answer is a little bit different, although I do miss the candy. My answer to why I participated in speeches for the past 9 years, as I did, was because this speaking, this ability to advocate for myself and to push for the things that I wanted in the world was something that allowed me to keep this beautiful Gursikhi given to me without ever having to bend to anyone else's ideology. Sikhi is not just some Western or Eastern ideology. Sikhi is about liberation. It's about this Badshahi that we have, the freedom to choose your path and break out of these binary choices. And so I implore each and every one of you sitting in this room, do not let this world of Maya influence you. And I ask you all to pose this question to yourself every day. Do you change the way you speak for the world, or do you make the world change when it speaks to you? And in a symposium where we're discussing the tragic events of 1984, this message is echoed even deeper. Sikhi has never been a religion of silence. We have been and forever will be a group of people speaking out in injustice. And so I wish to say something to all the Sangat here today. I want to tell the parents and the kids, whether you're 8 or 80 years old, that when you feel powerless, even if you cannot walk, you cannot eat, you cannot fight, or you cannot see, you must remember that you are able to speak. And speak not of these things that are based in Maya. Speak this Gur Mantra. Speak the dialogue of the Sangat. And in the same way that this Uncle Ji, with a few words, inspired me to the point where I haven't been able to sleep these past few nights thinking about his message, we must all aim to be able to speak in this way. And so for the final time, I want to question everybody in the Sangat. Why do you participate in the speeches? Because I know why I do. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
Let's have a round of applause for Sehaj Singh. Thank you very much, Sehaj. So our next speaker is a guy you never want to see sitting across from you at trivia night. He may have been born and raised elsewhere, but he spent the lion's share of his life here in Dallas, and we claim him as our own. His family, including him, they've been sort of lifelong participants in Sikh Youth Symposium, as participants, as judges, as organizers. He recently graduated from the University of Texas at Austin with degrees in finance and economics. By day, he's a consultant at Boston Consulting Group, but perhaps most notably, he's a Jeopardy champion. Yeah, he's exactly who you think he is. Coming up next is a guy who made us all proud last year when he won the Jeopardy National College Tournament, beating out 5,000 participants and claiming the title and the $250,000 prize. Please join me in welcoming Trivia Master, the pride of Dallas, Jaskaran Singh.
Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here tonight at the South Fork Ranch for the 2024 International